All right, back again. Dave here. How's everybody? Hope you've been practicing. Remember, you got to practice that sensitivity, pressure sensitivity with pen, to get this cross hatching right and this value gradations to make it atmospheric. This time, probably it's hard to see it, but if you see, I'm using just a black sheet of paper. We went from the actual normal white sheets to the middle tone, and this time we're on a black sheet. And we'll flip-flop back and forth, showing you different things. Now this time we're only using the white pens. This is what I call my, believe it or not, as you see on this one, this light is my medium light. Look how bright that is. You can probably see it there. Yeah, how bright that one is on a black sheet. And therefore, sometimes I may have to actually use a little sensitivity, as you can see, to make it not as dark, but that is nothing compared to my bright light. This is my bright light here, look at that. Wow. Now right away you can see the difference. We're going to go back to just the regular forms with this because you got to think a little differently. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with our good old friend, the cube. Let's see, we'll do it this way. This time I'm going to have the light coming from the left. Let's get a regular little cube in here. Okay, you can see that's our regular cube. We're not going to get it, for you beginners, I'm not going through all the horizon line yet and vanishing points and all that. You can always find that somewhere. We just kind of do it intuitively and to make it real nice and simple. Now, one of the first things, this time we got the light coming from this direction. So, what we're going to do kind of establish what the shadow looks like. Now this is shadows can change. The cast shadow is very elusive, but it's basically something like this. Basically. It's kind of like that. Now here's a little trick too. If you'll notice, I want that shadow to be completely dark. I accidentally put a little line right there, so I'll take a black ink pen, and voila, it disappears. It's gone. So back to my medium light. Let's say medium light. So what we're going to do is basically the light is coming from the top. So we want the top to be well lit. That's the first thing. To show where our light source is coming from. We want the top to be well lit. So we establish that first. That's the top. Now to distinguish between the planes, we can't have, if we got one shadow side, we have to have a tone on the front. So we don't want it as light naturally as the top. We have to have a tone here to distinguish between the front and the top and the side and shadow. And when you have a plane meeting a plane, it's always an illusion of either darkness or light. We're going to make this illusion a little lighter right there. Right that corner. Just a little bit lighter. Now, we're going to fill in a ground plane. So we're going to Doesn't make any difference. I'll scribble it in. Just the idea is it gets further from the object, the light fades. This is really fun to do because you're actually like creating light. You can really see it. You really see it here. See, as we get further away, as I get closer around that shadow, and here, we want to right up around that shadow, we want it real light, real bright. And we'll have this you can either have this brighter than the front or not as bright, depending on how you want to do it as far as the light hitting it. So we'll try to keep it kind of consistent here. As we get away from it, the light fades, so it'll give it a spotlight effect. Here and fade away. As you can see, it begins to look as though light's shining right on that box or that cube, let's say, box, cube, that block. Now, certain areas like this, we really want to tighten them up. And to show a little reflected light to separate this plane, side plane of this block from the cast shadow, we're gonna do just a little, just enough, just a little bit of a light there. Kind of separates that shadow side of that box. Shadows do have a little reflected light within them, even though just a white line would separate it, but there is, in actuality, some reflected light in most shadows, not all, but you can always change it around. It gives it a little more of a three-dimensional look. Okay, we want to straighten this up a little bit. Now I'll take my, let's make sure it's running okay, working okay. This corner here. And as you can see, we've created a box. That's all it takes on that. Looks like it's maybe the light's actually coming down. And I will do my, yep, I know you probably missed that. Let's see, we'll do my regular cone. And we'll do it this way. Okay, let's see here how we got it. Okay, if we got light coming down that way, that means the top of this bad boy would be bright. Like this. Maybe a little reflected light up under here. This one would be bright right here too. Now we have some light. Something like that. And I'll take this one. There we go. All right. Now I got the light arrow. Now we're going to do a sphere. Okay, we'll do it right up here too. Do a nice size one. Okay, there we go. The light's coming from that direction again. So, now we got to see where we want the shadow. Remember, the shadow is in the form of an ellipse. So we gotta try to get this one right. And let's see. Remember, if you on this, you can always correct stuff real easy. Take a black ink pen. Fade it right on out. Okay. What we'll do, we'll start sitting in the ground plane first. With an atmosphere. It's kind of I'm doing a combination of cross hatching and scribbling. Just trying to create atmosphere. The effect of light on the surface. Right in these little areas, you want to get it, like I said, real tight right here in these, where these connections are. And we'll do it right back here. Okay, we'll do it here too. Don't be afraid to turn the paper whichever way you need to turn it. Now I'm going to connect both of these. Try to get a good quality of light. It's very obvious. This is something that you can begin to, the more you do it, you begin to see the light. You're actually creating the objects. That's the only way we see anything is with light. If it was all darkness, that's why when all the lights go out, you don't see anything. It takes light to show form. There's a couple of times that you don't see anything. Let's say when the lights go out, or if you were caught in a blizzard, like a snow blizzard, and it was just all snow. They call it a whiteout. everything is the same value, and it kind of blinds you. That's what happens if everything is the same value, you couldn't see anything. You have to really think about some of those things. That's why contrast is so important. When you have a lot of contrast, that gives the illusion of brightness. If you notice, on a nice sunny day, the colors are more vivid and the light is brighter and the shadows are delineated more. You can see a real good shadow as compared to an overcast day. An overcast day, the shadows are kind of middle tone, and the light's kind of diffused like in a way, but on a clear, sunny, bright day, those shadows look dark. And the light is light, real bright. That's the contrast. That's why everything looks so bright. You start looking at stuff like that. Now, get this over right. I'm going to put a little reflected light right in here. And let's see how we want to do this one. I think I'll do it real lightly. I'm still thinking about the shape of the object. The shadow is always a kind of a crescent on a sphere. Now I'm doing it this way to build up to light, so I can put a highlight on this, as you'll see in a moment. Now, of course, the harder you press, naturally, that's the whole idea, the more the illusion of light. But I want to leave it like that. I'll show you what happens on down the way. Now I'm going to use my bright one. So I could put a highlight on here. And I might hit this down here just a little bit. That little bright area. Now a couple of areas that I'm going to tighten up is right in here. If I can get that good contrast. Right there. And also back here. Light. Sometimes the paper acts a little funny there. Sometimes you may have to wait till the ink actually dries to go back over it again if you apply too much ink. That seems like what the problem is right there. I may wait wait till that actually dries, and then I can go back over it. It'll take. See, we did some of the same forms, but a whole different technique. Now they begin to stand out as though there's a spotlight on those. And while we're at it, let's see, maybe up here we'll do another one. This time, we'll do another figure. Let's see, we'll try this one here. Yeah, I think I'm over far enough. Maybe I'll do it right here. I want to do a wider triangle. Yeah. Okay, there's our triangle. Now, I want this other side to come down. Now we want to put that shadow in. This is hypothetical. Who knows how it may actually go. But we're going to, for simplicity, we're just going to do a shadow like this. Try to get it straight here. Just to make it real simple. It could go, let's see, it could go over that way. All depends on how the light is. Shadows can be funny. But we are just for practical purposes here, just to give you an idea. We won't get all technical with the shadows. We're more interested in the effect of light. So once again, we're going to put in our background. This time I'm going to merge these two over here. Like I say, it's a combination of scribbling and cross-hatching to set up an atmosphere. It's fast and economic. It doesn't take forever to do it. That's the whole idea. And I would suggest too, when you buy some white pens like this, I would say, they're not that expensive. I get about 4 at a time. So if one runs out, say at least 2. Don't get one. You'll be upset because even the black ones, most of the white ones you have to buy separately. The black pens come in a pack, but you don't want to run out in the middle of a drawing and all of a sudden don't have a backup pen. So I would say if you can, get 4 at a time, but a minimum of 2. So you have a backup, and not that expensive. It may be like $4 for a pen. And depending on how much drawing you do, as to how soon it will run out. But at least you'll have a backup. So I usually buy at least 4 to 6 at a time. So I don't have to worry about that. As you see, this can go on for however long you want to do it. Main thing is you're creating a ground plane. That's what you want to do first. This kind of sets the object in atmosphere. everything is in some kind of atmosphere. It doesn't necessarily have to mean air. It could be in outer space. It could be anywhere. It's just the idea it's in something. Whatever that something might be. It's like when you paint, you want to set up a background atmosphere first. That way you can get your values and everything correct before you actually paint the object. Whether it's a portrait or a figure or landscape. You want to find out with landscapes, quite often you want to do some of the sky and get that general mood first. I'm just kind of getting a whole lot of, just enough so you can see what's going on here. Okay, now we want to figure out how we want to do this. Okay, first thing I know I want to do my little, see, come on, pen. All right. Must be some oils for my hand, probably over here. The brown plane. And I like to make these corners real light. That really gives it a three-dimensional feel. Right there at that plane change, that's where you want to make a sharp corner from light to shadow. Now what I'm trying to do is set up a tone for this. So I'm going to scribble across and all. Now, what I'm going to do with this one, now here where you have two values between this pyramid and the background, one has to be lighter than the other, or it'll blend in and you won't be able to tell. So in this case, I'm going to make the ground a little lighter. That's a decision you can make depending on what you're drawing. But I'm just going to do this so you can see the edge, what contrast does. It's like light hits it right there. We have, one of them has to be lighter than the other, or the edge you'll lose that edge. Now that's our pyramid. Now let's just say we had a sphere in the air. If it was just in the air. Okay, we decide what we wanted to. Maybe we want to this one just to be in blackness and outer space, maybe. Different ways to do it. Do it this way, which almost looks like my bubbles. Let's see. Well, in fact, we will make some bubbles. That's how I make my bubbles. Highlight on each bubble. Gives you an idea how to do bubbles. Now, if we wanted to make this sphere let's see if we had a bright one. Okay, we'll do like this. That. And we still want to, now let's see what we do. We'll have some, we'll give it a little atmosphere around here. I think I want to hear that. Create a little atmosphere around that. Have, or maybe make it a little more interesting. Or we could shimmering all kind of ways. Let's see, make another one here. And this time, we'll keep it dark. Remember, the harder you press, the more of effective light that you get. I'll tell you what, we're going to change this up a little bit here. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, want to get rid of this one. Okay. Change up this mood a little bit. Okay, we're going to put a little bit here. Like that. This way. What I like to do sometime here is just, like I say, my regular so many ways you can make things sparkle and shine. And I really like bubbles. I like to do these bubbles. See if we have them. This could either be a stream of water, or maybe it's in outer space. Who knows? You have this coming to you. Okay, we're going to make them floating along here. And let's say we'll have the reflected light back here. I'm going to hit it with some light right here. Ah, there we go. They glow on those bubbles. Like that. As they get closer to you. Using my dimmer light for the reflected light. Let's remember, think of this white pen as light. Now I'll hit it with the highlight. That gives life to these bubbles, makes them glow. Here's a little water here. I'll see. Now, we try some of the same effects, only you can see it's a lot different when you have just a different color paper. Makes all the difference in the world. Say we want to do our clouds again. A different type of cloud, baby, huh? Okay. Clouds can be any kind of way. Sometimes it's just look up, like I said before, look up and see how beautiful the cloud formations are. You can retain them. The more you look at it, the more you retain them in your memory when you want to do a picture. and they're just beautiful light effects. It's unbelievable. Be surprised what's up there. Just got to look up and see. Okay, let's see, we're gonna do here this first. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do, we could either have a dark sky, maybe I'll keep our light coming from the left here. So maybe I'll hit the clouds like this. Let's see, go in there like that. Then we could even fill in some of the clouds. Let's try this one here. Now, clouds have light and shadow too, so always remember that. Because they're not really solid, but you couldn't walk on them, but they're a solid form as far as light and shadow is concerned. I put in some of the, you have to think of them as almost a solid form when you actually putting light on the clouds, like this. And maybe I'll do another one here. Yeah, think of them as round and soft, like they are like big balls of cotton or whatever. They've got a light side and a shadow side. They're not flat. They do have form. That's what we're doing here. We're creating a form. We're creating that form on these clouds. Now this one here, I'm gonna paint in the background just to give you a different look. So it gives a I'll put one up here maybe just for the heck of it. Now, this is the lighter, the dimmer light. Look how bright it is on the black paper. It makes a big difference. Let's see if I had a couple clouds up here. Maybe I might want to. how we can do it. Look at it. Just think of the light. That's what we're doing with. Let there be light. This is where those exercises come in handy. I told you about to get that sensitivity with your hand. That's very important to create the effect of light and atmosphere. You don't want it flat. You want it to have a little bit of light. Right here, I'm going to do it very, very lightly. Now here, I make it a little lighter. Press a little harder. Right down there. Right here, I want to. Always hit it like that. Make those clouds stand out. All right, like this. Maybe I really put, see how just barely touching it down here creates a lot of light. You can have lightning bolts coming up. Maybe it's a storm. That's how lightning is jagged. Lightning's coming out from the clouds. And we'll do our obligatory mountain. Gotta do my mountain. And we're gonna do a nice big one here. This way. I'm going to do 2 peaks here, huh? Okay, I'm going to start by, remember the black side is already in shadow. So you don't really have to do too much, but we still will do something over there. We don't want it flat. That's the whole idea. We don't want it flat. Sometimes you can, it makes it look like a little illumination back there. You don't want it perfectly flat. And the mountains can look any kind of way. As long as you get them 3-dimensional. That's what matters. Start putting them in like this. Scribble it on in. And create the one down the way. Just imagine if you were really looking at the mountain. Now here's where we make the contrast. This makes that mountain stick out. This is the contrast. Remember, we already got the shadow. The paper is the shadow. Take other mountain peaks here, whatever we want to do. Now that's starting to take shape here again. Let's see here. Keep that in the dark. You know, we'll work on these little areas that are sticking out in the light here and there. Gives it a little more three-dimensional feel. Open the shadow area just real lightly, very lightly. And we're gonna make this particular peak stand out by putting a little value, light value behind it. That make that stand out. Now we're getting it look like a rock. Now for a minute, I'll switch over to my real light, make sure it's working. Now we're going to put some light on this. This really makes it stand out. Put it strategically though. You don't want to just put it everywhere. You could just kind of look at it and just imagine if you were really looking at it in real life, where would this light hit? Starts to bring that out now. I'm gonna hit it down here just a little bit to get a little area of interest. Some of these is bright, real bright down there. Makes you wonder what's going on down in that area. All of a sudden you see that light, like, oh wow, you know, just some little areas like that. Kind of hit it. Something's going on down there. It's real bright down there. Oops. Now you can see. Okay, let's see what else here we can do for a minute with the form. Let's see here. Put some more. Some more lightning strike. Yeah. Real jagged lightning. Maybe I'll put a few more mountains over here. And if we want to make them like they were in the distance, naturally, you do overlapping forms, and we'll talk about that on down the way. But I can make these mountains and everything in the distance. Everything real light, and to really show that they're in the distance, you contrast it with some other areas right up front here. It helps make those look like they're in the background. Keep these in the distance. Maybe some clouds way back there. Way back there. Yeah. Now we've got this mountain. Well, let's see, how does that compare with that other mountain? Let me see if I can find that one. Right here somewhere. Let's see the two mountains, huh? Now this is a mountain with the last video we did. This is on a tone paper, and this is a mountain on the black paper. Look at the difference. You can really tell some unique, different stories. This one looks much more mysterious, and I like doing it on either one. I mean, but especially on the black, it can really make stuff stand out. As you can see the difference. Fantastic. Contrast. That's what it's about. Got contrast. Really works good. And on down the way too, I like to we'll do like maybe trees or some rocks and different things. Eventually some figures. It takes a little while. I want you to get used to seeing the light before you can actually put it on, apply it to a figure. But I like doing rocks. Like say if I was doing a rock. I love doing rocks too. See, this is a rock. The light's coming from the left, but first I'll do my forms. Well, the forms I want my rocks to look. And my light's coming from that direction. Just decide there's no right or wrong way that a rock looks. All rocks look different. That's something you can take advantage of. And I would say you eventually, when you start doing some of this, you will start observing clouds and rocks and things. You'll start noticing, hey, because as you try to actually depict them with the on a two-dimensional surface, you'll start looking at them in real life. Believe me, start to seeing where the light hits and the shadows. And I'm gonna put a little contrast back here so that they stand out. Maybe a little light here, maybe. Just maybe a little shadow back there. This is the front of the rocks, ground plane. We're going to make that not as quite as bright everywhere. We want the rocks to stand out. Little by little, the rock becomes more and more solid. As you can see, they get to be more and more solid. We keep the ground plane not as bright. We don't want that conflict of light. We're trying to keep it. Okay, where we at here? And since the ground is not just flat, another time we'll actually work on doing a ground plane. To make things look like the ground. Irregular and rocky, and rocks and stuff on the ground, and holes and dents and all that other stuff. But this is the idea of how the rocks will start looking. Something like that. That'll be the rocks. But that will be, maybe on the next one, we'll see. But once again, remember, practice this. Light. Now, this is just the opposite. As you press harder, you get the effect of more light. Harder you press, the more the intensity of light. A little bit different in the pencil. I'll do another one here. I'll do it vertically. Intense light. That's light. That's light. Build up to intensity. I'll go back to the left again. Or if I did it over here, harder you press is just the opposite. When you do it on the white sheet of paper, the harder you press, the more shadow, the darker it is. This way it's just the opposite. You got to change your mind around. You got to think in the opposite. The harder you press, the more the light effect is. The brighter, not the darker, the brighter it becomes. So that should be all for now. It's been about a good hour or so. I think that gives you a few things to really look at. We'll continue going back and forth between the white sheets, the middle tone, and the black paper, trying effects here and there. And little by little, we will do different pictures, actually composing and putting them together based on understanding the direction of your light, the intensity of the pressure, and contrast. Contrast is very important for getting a three-dimensional effect. Remember that, contrast. And I'll also talk about overlapping forms. Helps out with your perspective to make things like they're going in a distance. And also something called aerial perspective. We'll deal with that too. And little by little, we'll all put it together piece by piece. And before you know it, hey, you got a picture, a full picture. You got to piece it together. It's not that hard. Just keep practicing, and I'll get you there. Until next time, as usual, this is Abe saying, hey, keep drawing. All right.